And now it's time for the part of the show where Shoeless Joe comes on and reads your comments.
I want to be a cup of Joe, the first sip in the morning.
Alright everybody, it's time for a cup of Joe. Sabrina Sapita asks, are you going to move since your family has grown? We live in a very small little house here with 2 bedrooms and 4 kids and now 1 dog. One little puppy, so we're kind of outgrowing this house a little bit. However, for the time being, we live right across the street from Aaron's parents, and we're helping them take care of Aaron's grandma. So right now, we're kind of sticking around to help family out and be there as a support and as a resource. So we are not moving yet, but sometime in the future, I'd see if it were me, I would just stay here forever, have 1 million kids in this tiny house, save a little bit of money, but Aaron seems to want room to breathe. It's weird. It's weird. Andrew C. says, okay, this was in response to a video I made where I said, you know, I'm just going to stop reading fiction. Fiction just seems kind of like a wasted time. Ain't nobody got time for that. I need to just read things that are gonna, you know, whatever, inform me, blah, blah, blah. So Andrew C. says, reading fiction has given you a fantabulous range of vocabulary, like the word use of fantabulous there, entertaining and engaging, wonderful words of magic and mystery stored in your noggin, ready to go to be used to draw people to you and the word of the Lord. Not wasted time after all. And you know what? You're right, Andrew. Sometimes I get on these things where I'm like, this has no point in my life. Purge it away. Forget fiction. And then what do I find myself doing? Reading fiction, because it's a great way to unwind at the end of a long day. It does have a purpose. I don't know what. I was in one of those moods, you know? So you're right, Andrew C. And everyone else who has told me the benefits of reading fiction. You're right. Ultraviolet Morgan says, number 1, I can always repurchase this. Okay, so this is in response to a video I made about what do you do with when there's a just-in-case item that you're thinking about getting rid of, but you're like, I might need this just in case X, Y, or Z. Like, what if this happens? Should I get rid of this item? So one of the things I suggest saying in that video is just get rid of a lot of stuff, and then if you need to, repurchase some of those items, right? So I would rather get rid of 10 things and then realize, you know what, I really do need one of those things and repurchase it, rather than keeping all 10 of those things because I might need one of them at some point and I'm not really sure, okay? So that was the idea. So Ultraviolet Morgan says, I can always repurchase this, ha 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 ha. Some people can't. Like, I literally have had times where I couldn't buy pens and lotions. So this is something, that's a good point, that's a great point. And I would say if you can't afford to repurchase something and you're not sure if you should get rid of it, then maybe you shouldn't, right? Better safe than sorry sometimes. So if I'm thinking I might get rid of a laptop, but I really don't want to fork over, you know, $500 to $1,000 to buy a new laptop, maybe I should hang on to it for a little while. Even though I didn't do that and I did get rid of a laptop and give it to someone, but that's neither here nor there. My point is, the reason I'm bringing up this comment is because I see this sometimes crop up in the minimalism world and communities where it's like minimalism is this elite thing where only if you have the privilege of being rich can you become a minimalist and just get rid of things because, oh, I can always buy it again if I need it. Which, yeah, I mean, only rich people have the problem of having too much stuff and not knowing what to get rid of. And okay, not only rich people, but that's largely the issue, is that people who live in abundance, we don't know how to manage it. Society has not done a good job of teaching us how to manage that abundance of what to live with. So I don't understand this criticism where it's like, well, I could never repurchase that, or some people have nothing and they're poor and living on, well, yeah, if they probably don't. I mean, I would never go to a homeless person who has all of their belongings in a cart and saying, when was the last time you used that? Get rid of it. It's like, well, no, I can't get rid of it because what if I need it? I'll never be able to get it back. So of course, if you cannot afford to repurchase something and you're not sure if you need it, don't get rid of it. It's like this weird mentality of, well, how can you have a weight loss program? Only rich people who can afford to become overweight by overeating need to lose. Well, yeah, it's like, yeah, of course. There's no need for a weight loss program in an area where people are starving. This is the internet. So I'm talking to everyone at large. If it doesn't apply to you, and that's not going to be helpful for you, then don't implement it. Certainly. Certainly. April Haruko says, my favorite part of your channel is how you integrate minimalism and Christianity. I've really struggled to find sources that do this. Even Joshua Becker of Becoming Minimalist is apparently a Christian, but he doesn't talk about his faith much. I really appreciate that you do talk about your faith and in depth. Do you know of any other minimalists online, video or otherwise, who talk about faith and minimalism? I've been looking, but yours is all I've found. Great question, April. And actually, that's one of the main reasons that my channel exists and that I keep making videos on my channel. Because I don't feel like I have a lot of new things to say as far as minimalism and getting rid of things and blah, blah, blah. That's pretty oversaturated. But you're right. I really don't see a lot of that. A lot of people who are talking about being Christian and being minimalist. There are a lot of Christian minimalists, I think, but they don't talk about the Christianity aspect really much at all. And Joshua Becker, who you brought up, is a great, great example of this. And I get kind of frustrated with him because he's one of like the big minimalists, right? I think of them as like the minimalist celebrities where everyone kind of knows of them. You think of the minimalists, and Leo Babautu is someone I think of, and Joshua Becker, though, he is like probably right up there under the minimalists. So it frustrates me actually that he doesn't talk about Christ, because if you're a Christian and you believe that Christ is the end all to be all, right? And the most important thing is getting to heaven. And all you ever talk about is minimalism and getting rid of things. Well, none of that matters if you're not living the way that you think that people are supposed to live. So it's more important to me that you take care of your soul and the state of your soul, and that you're seeking that truth that can be found in Christ. And I know not everyone on my channel is a Christian, but I feel like everyone on my channel, hopefully, for the most part, is seeking truth and is open to truth. And so that's why I incorporate Christianity into what I talk about, because that's a vital part of my minimalist side is Christianity. And so I share your frustration, and it's just like, and I see both. I see people who talk about minimalism a lot, but they don't really talk about Christianity or their faith life. And then I see people who talk about their faith life a lot, and they touch on minimalism sometimes. And that, I think, is maybe better, because they're talking about what's more important, right? Which is the state of your soul and salvation and the meaning of life and the meaning of Christ. So What Laura Likes is a channel that she talks primarily about faith and her Christianity and her Catholic faith. But she does talk about minimalism sometimes. So there's some videos on her channel that I really like. What Laura Likes. Darcy Isabella is also a great Catholic YouTuber, minimalist person. She doesn't talk about faith as much. She focuses more on the minimalist aspect. But you're right. I think, and that's what I'm trying to do with my channel, is kind of bring those things together and give them a little bit more even playing ground there. And so, no, I don't really know anyone who really focuses on both of those things, which is something that I try to do. Creative Cat Productions says, I had an idea where our family would wear a uniform every day. It's the only aspect of our minimalism that I can't get my wife to do. And I brought up this same thing to my wife, actually, or something similar. So there's this family on YouTube. I can't remember. I watched their videos for a while ago, and it's this family. They have a ton of kids, and they homeschool, and I think they must talk about minimalism. That's how I found them. And one of the things they do is they have kind of like a family uniform where they all wear the same color every day. So every day it's like, today's red, and we're all wearing red shirts and just jeans or whatever. Tomorrow's blue, we're all wearing blue. So it's this really cool thing. And I brought it up to Erin, and she looked at me like I was crazy. So Creative Cat Productions, I feel your pain. The Cuber lady, what is a cuber? Urban Dictionary, someone who can consistently solve a Rubik's Cube. Dang, there's a whole Rubik's Cube community. That cuber lady says, my tiny TV doesn't produce channels and it's off 24 hours a day. It plays my old DVDs. People argue with me saying I only watch X amount of hours per week, right? I only watch 10 hours a week. I only watch 1 hour a week. What's wrong with that? So this was on my video about way back when I talked about how we don't have a TV. And the reason I'm bringing up this comment is because of the phrase, what's wrong with that? I only watch this much TV. What's wrong with that? I have items. I have so many items. What's wrong with that? Nothing. I mean, what do you mean what's... okay, what am I trying to say here? When I bring up like a radical lifestyle, I own nothing. I only have like 2 or 3 outfits that I wear. They're like, oh, well, I have this many clothes. What's wrong with that? It's like living in a more radical way or a countercultural way is an attack on someone else. And I think this is a natural defense that we have when someone's like, well, I don't own a TV. It's like, well, I'm better than everyone. I'm above that. And so it's like, well, I own a TV, but I only watch this much. Like, what's so wrong with that? Like this comparison thing. And I think what's wrong with that is never, okay, not never. It's not always the right question to ask. I own a TV. What's wrong with that? Well, nothing, I guess. I prefer to ask the question, what's right with that? And so what I mean is, what's good about it? Well, I only watch 10 hours of TV a week. What's wrong with that? Wrong according to who? Nothing's wrong with that. But what's right with it? Is it serving a purpose? What are you getting out of it? Some people use TV as a way to relax from a really stressful day at work. They come home, they watch an hour or 2 of TV, and it helps just, wind down and whatever. What's wrong with that? I would say probably nothing. I prefer to read to wind down. That seems a better way to me, but it's whatever. So this question of like, what's wrong with the fact that I have this many clothes? Nothing. Nothing's wrong with it. Wrong according to who? But what's right about it? How is it good for you? How is it serving you? I'm not trying to go around telling people, I only have 3 outfits. It's wrong if you have more. I don't have a TV. It's wrong if you have one. What's so wrong with that? I encourage you to not, instead of getting defensive and saying, what's wrong with this? What's wrong? What are you trying to say? Think about what's right with it. How is it serving me? What's so great about me having a closet full of clothes? What's so great about me having a TV? Would it be better to not have it, right? There's not anything wrong with having a TV, but would it be better to not have it? And I'm not saying it is better for everyone. I think it might be possible, but not necessarily the case. And it's not for me to decide. That's the beauty of it, right? You get to decide for you if it's better to have a TV or not to have a TV. So don't ask yourself, well, what's wrong with me having this much of that? Or what's wrong with me doing this? Ask yourself what's right about it, and would it be better not to? And finally, Stuart Carter says, February is my clean thinking month. No blame, no justification, no complaints. I've been trying to do some kind of challenge or new habit every month, and that's Stuart's for February, clean thinking. And that is freaking amazing because Stuart, I don't know, let us know how that's going for you, because I would find that so hard to do. But if you can do that, oh man, that type of mindfulness, when you can take control of your inner monologue or your self-talk, the term we use in some of the classes I teach, your inner monologue, the thing that you're saying yourself over and over, this is so hard, this is so difficult, why does this always happen to me? I'm not sure how this is going to work out. Well, I did this because of this. What's so wrong with that, right? To get rid of that, no blame, no justification, no complaints, that is beautiful. And that is so hard. I don't know. How do you do that? It's like a really tricky thing. So kudos to you, Stuart. Cheers to that. Let us know how that goes. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below. I am here for you to have this talk. So thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day. This has been Your Cup of Joe.
I wanna be your cup of joe. The first sip in the morning, you get your going ritual. and what we sow from within.
Love you. Bye.